I know what this is going to be. Yes, we do. Usman, Marnus, Cam Green, Smith, Head, Bo Webster, Kerry, myself, Nathan Lyon, Josh Hazelwood, and Starkey. Starkey, not in that order. Thank you.
Clearly, one of the big decisions has been the opening position. What's swayed you towards putting Marnus there for this game?
I think, Cam Green, the last few weeks he's had, coming back in, great form. We thought he deserved a spot in the, somewhere in the batting lineup. We thought 3 probably suits him best. And then, with Marnus moving, we thought it's one spot up really. It's not too different to batting 3. He's done well here in England in the past. All the boys have trained well. Him and Sam and Josh Inglis kind of just, have all trained really well. But I thought selectors got with Marnus, experience and done well here at Lords, but in England in general.
Just on that, are you just looking at this test match for that? And because Caribbean, the conditions will be different and things could happen. So it's just a one test match decision for the Open?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a final, so we just, the selectors pick the best 11 for this week. I think George said in the past, it's not a huge connection between this week and the Caribbean. It's quite separate. The main reason being this is the final, different conditions. We just want to pick what's best for this week and kind of think about the Windies after this game.
And just with Cam Green and Bo Webster in the slip cordon, nothing can go past them. Right? It's the greatest slip cordon you both do.
It's the widest. There was actually a few people, a few of the boys were watching them just go about their work yesterday, just in awe. Marnus he got in there a bit and he said he felt like a little child standing around them. He was trying his hardest to catch them, whereas they were shelling peas. So, see how we go, but they look pretty impressive.
Just with the Bo Webster, obviously 6 out, could you see those over assessment of the service out there?
It seems hard to know here at Lords. You either kind of don't need a 5th bowler or you really need one. I think some of the innings are either short or long. There's almost nothing in between, but I think you saw in Sydney there was seaming conditions and he was really effective. Takes some key breakthroughs, but can also hold up an end. But I think these conditions will suit him well. So he's done brilliantly with the bat as well. In the 3 Test matches he's played so far. But I think his bowling will be crucial.
And just with bowling missing out, how does that decision just keeps getting tougher and tougher to test?
Yeah, it does. There are some guys where you genuinely say, you've done nothing wrong, don't change a thing, and that's Scotty. He's just really unfortunate to miss out. Joshy Hazel comes back in, we know how good he is, but I think the message to Scotty is there's a lot of Test cricket coming up in the next couple of years, and just because you're mid-30s doesn't mean you're missing this test and that's one test off your career. I think by having a squad of fast bowlers, hopefully we can extend all our careers for an extra couple of years. So it's a really unfortunate Scotty misses this, but kind of message to him is don't feel like you're running out of time. We've still got lots of time, hopefully, in his career.
Pat, Smudge thought yesterday that the pitch might dry up a little bit and Gaz might be suited late in the match. Have you had a good look at the pitch and any thoughts on that?
I haven't looked today, but I think it's just looks like a really good wicket. Lords can spin, late day 3, but into day 4 and 5. Again, it's one of those wickets that it can look like a good wicket, and then the clouds come over and it looks a little bit livelier, whatever that word is. It's hard to know, but traditionally I think spin does play a role here at Lords.
Pat, just with the World Test Championship and I guess specifically with Marnus's selection, is there a unique component to it where you are viewing it as a grand final and I guess the players who have sort of got you here over the last 2 years are rewarded in a sense? Has that been a big factor in his selection?
I think it's part of the factor. He's a somewhat known quantity. I think our selectors have probably shown you that they're happy they'd rather give someone an extra little run than pull the pin too early. And yeah, Marn's, again, he's played some crucial knocks in getting us here. Look back with the MCG, his batting was right up there as a difference in that match. So, yeah, I think it's part, rewarding those guys that got us here.
There's probably some surprise at home that after what he did in the 2 tests over the summer, that Sam Constance hasn't played since. Yeah, do you feel that there's any risk that you've kind of missed a chance just with his development to have him in the team? So in the tests he's played so far this year?
It's something that the selectors are always weighing up. Realistically, he's really young. He's got a long career ahead of him. So hopefully, even by not playing, being in Sri Lanka and here, they're learning opportunities. But at the same time, you've got guys like Bo Webster who are starting out their test career as well. Obviously, Cam Green comes back in here. Josh Inglis got a chance to start his test career. So I think it's a good problem that we have, 3 or 4 guys who are all right on the fringe of and the cusp of getting a good run in test cricket.
What are you expecting from South Africa in terms of the way they might play, and looking at their side, where do you see the threats coming to your team from?
I think there's a few unknowns. Just the personnel. We've probably played about half of the guys before, but half we haven't played, in red ball cricket. Throwing, Duke's ball, neutral ground. There's a few more unknowns going to the test match, which is exciting. I think we're going to have to problem solve on our feet a bit more. I think no doubt, their bowlers we have seen a little bit of, and there's a couple of big wicket takers there. Rabada and Maharaj have been around for a fair while now and been successful, so they're an obvious threat. But again, some of those younger or newer guys in the team that we haven't seen before, we're going to have to be pretty sharp on.
This is obviously a ground you guys do traditionally very well on. How do you feel being back at Lord's? Obviously, last time you were here, slightly controversial circumstances.
Yeah, it's been great. Great few days. Maybe there's no crowds, that helps, but it's been it's always good to be back here. It's such an iconic ground, and we do enjoy playing over here. And someone like Smitty scored a lot of runs here. Past 3 or 4 Ashes series and Test matches, I think we've won or gone close to winning every test. So it's a place we like playing at. Even white ball cricket, we've had some success here as well.
What sort of reception are you expecting, given what happened 2 years ago? A lot of people saying the neutrals will be behind South Africa as well.
Probably. Hard to know. There's a lot of Aussies here in London, so I'm sure there'll be lots of Aussies out there. Lots of South African fans as well, and I wouldn't be surprised if the English have a few supporting South Africa as well, but we'll wait and see.
Over the period of time where I guess you've seen glimpses of Marnus, making contributions, but maybe not at the same level as he had previously, have you sort of talked to him about, I guess, what you want from him, the way you think he's best suited to play, whether it's 3 or opening this week?
I have. I think, the extra layer to that is I do believe the wickets in Australia, or the pitches in Australia, being as hard as they've ever been, probably in Test cricket for the top order. Probably the start of his Test career was similar to my start, and they were pretty flat batting wickets in general, whereas the last few years have been really tough going for the top order. So I think there's that extra layer, but I think it's similar conversations to Davey Warner over here. I think it's more about the style and how they go about it. We love when they're busy and they're putting pressure back on the bowlers, and that's our message here to Marnus. Opening the batting can be tough, but it can also be sometimes the best time to bat here before the Duke's ball actually starts swinging. There's runs to be scored there. So just keeping that positive intent, I think, is when he's batting his best. Yes. Yeah. I wish you didn't say that.
Just on your comment on the pitches getting tougher, do you think that sort of coincided with the World Test Championship coming in 6 years ago, and took wins to sort of push the points they
I've got no idea. In Australia, I don't really feel like that comes into it. I think most venues just seem to try and make the best kind of wicket they can. I think after a couple of those flat years, SCG, MCG in particular have tried to create, sportier wickets. So I don't think it's related to the WTC, but I'm not part of those conversations.
Pat, in the larger context of the game, where does this WTC final features if you compare with the ODI World Cup final or T20 World Cup final? Because there is so much hype buzz around those white ball format and this red ball format. How you look at that?
It's a nice to see trophy, so it's right up there. You only get a few opportunities, you know, if you're lucky in your career to try and win one. So it's a trophy we've spoken a lot about over the last couple of years. You know, we wanted to be in this final. You know, personally, I think that 2023 World Cup title is going to be tough to beat. But yeah, this is a good one. Test cricket's my favourite format. You've got to basically win in all different conditions to make it into this final. You're competing against all Test playing nations, so it's really special to be here in the final. And yeah, if we can retain that mace, that's a pretty awesome thing for this team.
Pat, Jimmy Anderson was here yesterday watching you guys train, and he said that he races Nevada over you. What's your response to that one?
Cool. No worries.
Pat, given this team's history in big finals in comparison to South Africa's, how much do you use that in terms of when the game will get into crunch and big moments?
Hopefully it helps. You know, I think just about everyone in the team, I have to think about it, but everyone in the team's been in a final before, and yeah, I think in some ways, with experience, you want to, and some success, you just want to experience more of it, and that means when the going gets tough or the pressure's on you, you embrace that, you take it on. You know, you want to be the match winner. Hopefully don't get overwhelmed by big moments. So that's been most of the conversation this week. Is the guys just have excitement. They want to get out there. They want to play well. They want to win. There's no fear of failure or if it doesn't pan out. It's just an excitement to get going.
Pat, just following on from before, I guess, about this being sort of an isolated test in terms of how the team's been picked. Do you see it, like with the Ashes coming up later in the year, do you see it as important that Sam plays in the West Indies?
I think we get through this match and see. Ideally, we've got guys who are, by that first test, you've got, your side pretty settled, a fair way out. So I'm sure some Shield cricket will come into it before that series. There's a lot of water to go under that bridge, but yeah, in a perfect world, you've got lots of guys who have played some test matches, quite a few test matches leading to that Ashes.
2 years ago, you won the Mace and $400,000. Now you're playing for the share of $9 million. Is that significant? What does it mean?
I'm not sure the maths are exactly right there, Jim. I don't know, honestly, but yeah, I mean it's good. Test cricket is something we all value. There's a lot of dollars flying around in franchise cricket that can a series can kind of come and go without you even noticing it. Whereas I think a test series that has real worth by whatever it is, if it's TV viewership, if it's being able to fly your family to London and be part of an amazing final that the world stops and watches, or if it's a financial benefit from winning a tournament. If that helps Test cricket, I think that's only a good thing.